Very good evening, everyone. So let's begin with our presentation session. Those who wants to give presentation, please raise your hands. We will go in accordance with raise hand. Since we have only Suneetha for now, so Suneetha, are you there?
Ma'am.
Yeah, you can start your presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, is my screen visible?
It's still black screen. Let's wait for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's, I guess we can start.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Sunita from recently graduated JNTK Nashabad. Here, my presentation is key components of an air quality monitoring. Contents of my presentation are: what is air quality monitoring, methods of air quality monitoring, key components of air quality monitoring, explanation about key components, and conclusion. And what is air quality monitoring? We know that air quality monitoring is nothing but finding the pollution level in the air. And air quality monitoring and air pollution monitoring is the process of sampling and testing of air emissions. And regarding our health, air quality monitoring is important aspect of our life because it directly affects our health. And types of air quality monitoring: stationary source of emission monitoring, ambient air quality monitoring, on-road monitoring, remote sensing, and satellite monitoring. And already I have explained these in my previous task. And key components of air quality monitoring is Arduino, sensors, filters, analyzers, sampling instruments. Actually, there are so many components in air quality monitoring, but Arduino, sensors, filters, analyzers, sampling instruments are the key components. Without this, we cannot build the air quality monitoring system. Arduino. Arduino is a device that we can combine the both software and hardware in a one platform, and we can give inputs to the Arduino and we can take output what we need in the Arduino. We can code the Arduino, like give directions what the Arduino have to do, and in the same way the Arduino does, and what is output it getting, it communicate with us with the hardware application. And Arduino is the best choice for IoT projects because it boards and durable and simpler than others, making them easier to maintain and program. Here is the Arduino. By using Arduino, here is the monitoring system. Here these are sensors. MQ135 is one of the sensor which can sense the air pollution level and communicates with the Arduino and gives information to the any LED or what we can connect, it can information to that, and we can see the results on the LCD. And if there is any dangerous results that any value goes beyond that actual value, then we can elect the people. And next one is sensors. Sensors are the primary component of IoT based air pollution monitoring system. Sensors measure the air quality parameters and particulate matter like carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. The sensors can be classified into two categories: physical and chemical sensors. Physical sensors are mainly used for measuring humidity, temperature, that what we can touch and feel. Chemical sensors are used for measuring the air pollutants and some particular matters. Filters. Filters are the air, allow air to flow through the trap, and PM is nothing but particulate matter for testing and analysis. Filters, what the amount remaining on the filter, it analyzes, and analyzer does that work and give results to the output. They have different methods of filtering, and that by using that proper method we can get proper results. This is one of the filter. Selecting a right and air sampling filter for your application is key to ensuring the representative sample and therefore reliable test. Actually, filters are so many types, like by that area we can choose the filter. If you want to large volume of air to be filtered, then we can choose another filter, and based on the area and level of pollution we can choose the filter. Analyzers. Once the filter have done that purpose, and then the remaining part on the filter will be analyzed by this analyzer and gives a display of, like here we can see nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and how much amount is this. And if you can any devices like alarms or any wake up devices, if it gives output, if there any value is exceed their actual limit. An air quality monitor is a device that measures the level of common air pollutants. Monitors are available for both indoor and outdoor. Actually, indoor purpose we can use IoT based analyzers. For indoor purpose we can use sensor based instrument that is very suitable for indoor purpose, and sampling instrument. High and low volume air samplers are instruments used to collect samples of air particles. The difference between high and low volume air samplers is the amount of air sampled. There are two methods of sampling, high and low volume of air. Based on that, in the name indicates that if you want to sample the high level of volume air, then we can choose high volume air sampler, and otherwise low volume air sampler. And this is the most important part of the air quality monitoring. Air sampling and monitoring helps protect air quality, human health, and the environment. I have already said that this is most important part, because by taking good samples only we can analyze and give results. And PCM RCM 10 is a portable handle air quality particulate countering meter, or a particular counter used to monitor particular matter. PM concentrates in the air. What the structure of this is, it can measure or sample the particular matter. Actually, the particular matter is even thinner than our air. We cannot assume and we cannot see how much thinner it is. Actually 1340 times thinner than the actual air, and that can be sampled by PCE RCM 10. That is the specialty of this. Conclusion. Air pollution is considered a problem because it is not only affects the environment but also damages crops, forests, animals, and the human body. We can know that without air we cannot survive. How much important it is we can know by that only. By using different techniques and instrumentation, finding air pollution level is the best way to predict any dangers due to air. In conclusion, an IoT-based air pollution monitoring system is a revolutionary solution that can provide accurate and real-time about the air quality in a particular area. Actually, IoT leads the world now, and IoT-based air pollution monitoring system is the best method for our indoor or outdoor air quality monitoring. And these are the references. Any questions? Ma'am?
Yes, Sunita. So, if I ask you that, what is the importance of monitoring? So, how you will answer it?
Monitoring importance means if there any factory is releasing their toxic material, then this monitoring system will detect this air will be polluted polluted, and it can give directions to elected people, ma'am.
Okay.
That we can assume that we can escape from large dangers, ma'am.
Okay, fine. It's fine. Rest, your presentation was good, but I would like to address 2, 3 points. First
Okay,
is
ma'am.
you can add a short story in the beginning. Okay, means
Okay.
actually why you are doing it. For because it's, I think it's a theoretical concept task, so it will be much more clear when you in starting you clear your concept. Okay, that why you are
Ma'am,
doing.
actually, my previous task is air quality monitoring system, ma'am. I explained briefly about that in my previous task, ma'am.
Yeah, so it will be a good approach if you just give a short recap what you actually told in the previous presentation. So it will
Okay.
relate you more, as well as the
Okay, ma'am.
audience who is listening to you. Okay.
Okay.
And the
Can
next,
can I
have-
give it now, ma'am? Or no need?
no, it's fine. But in the future
Okay.
presentation, you can do this thing.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and one more thing, and since your topic is theoretical, so what you can do, one more thing, you can give examples in between while you are explaining your points that you have written on your PPT. Keep relating those points with the examples, certain examples like industrial example. You will get a lot of example on this
Sure, ma'am.
topic. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Sure, ma'am. I will. No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your feedback and scores on your email.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Next, we have Rakhi. You can start your presentation.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes.
I have a query. Should I wait till the last, or can I ask it now?
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, ma'am. So, I received a mail stating that I'm selected for paid internship. Further, that I didn't receive any mail regarding what should be my next action. So, should I request for a task again and continue with my regular task, or y'all will be assigning a new task for me?
See, you will get the updated information on your email. Okay. And
Okay.
if you are interested to work on your task and you want to learn, means if you are interested, so you can request, you can keep continue your task as you are doing. Rest, according to your that paid internship, you will get all the informations on your email.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Also, I have mailed it to the support at hackweather.in mail ID that my status is still showing complete, ma'am. It hasn't changed to active for now for the paid internship thing. So, is that a problem, or it's okay with that? Because I'm not able to mark attendance. Will that be managed, or?
You have posted your problem on the email, na? That support at the rate.
Yes,
Yeah, then
yes, ma'am.
yeah, it will surely get updated to active within a
Yeah,
few
okay.
days.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting, guys.
No
Bye.
problem. So, Rakhi, are you there? Yeah. Rakhi, please put your camera on as well.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Rakhi. You can start.
So, hello everyone. My project name is Cloud-Based Investment Platform and task allotted to me store and analyze stock market data on AWS S3 using cloud data analysis tools. So this is the content of my task. First is introduction, then overview of Amazon S3 demonstration part and AWS data analysis tools, services of stock market data and benefits of cloud data analysis and data security and compliance and challenges, and last is conclusion. So first is introduction. So what is stock market? Stock market is a dynamic aspect of the global economy, and it analyzing stock market analyzing provides insight for investor, traders, and financial analysis. And in this presentation, we explore the significance of storing and analyzing stock market data on AWS S3 using cloud data analysis tools. And the importance of the stock market, it is efficiently managing and analyzing vast amount of stock market data is essential for informed decision making, and AWS offers scalable, secure, cost effective solution for analyzing financial data. Next is Amazon S3. So what is the Amazon S3? Amazon S3 stands for simple storage service. It is an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. And you can use Amazon S3 to store and retrieve any amount of data at any time from anywhere. Amazon S3 is a safe place to store the files. It has unlimited storage, means that you can store the data as much you want. Files are stored in bucket. A bucket is a folder available in S3 that stores the files. S3 is a object-based, and object consists of the following like key, value, version ID, metadata, sub-resources, and else many more. So first is key. What is key? Key is a simple name of the object. For example, hello.text. You can use the key to retrieve the object. Second is value. It is simply the data which is made up of sequence of bytes. It is actually data inside the file. And what is version ID? Version ID, it is uniquely identify the object. It is generated by S3 when you can add an object to the S3 bucket. Then is metadata. Metadata is known as data about data that you are storing. A set of name value pair which can you store in the information regarding an object. Metadata can be assigned to the object in Amazon S3. Next is sub-resources. Sub-resources, it is used to store objects specific information. And last is access control information. You can use the permissions individually on your files. Next is what are S3 bucket used for? So Amazon Simple Storage Service are mainly used to help individuals, enterprises meet their data storage, backup, and delivery needs in the cloud. There are many variety of uses like data lakes, dynamic websites, mobile application, backup and restore operations, big data analysis, user generated content, storage archives, and many more. Next is how to use an S3 bucket. So first you create a bucket in AWS region of their choice and gives a globally unique name, globally bucket name. It is
API, finance API.
Sorry, ma'am.
No problem, you can continue.
I can't hear, ma'am.
You can continue. I guess there was some interruption with the internet. You can
Okay,
continue.
Okay, ma'am. So how to use an S3 bucket? So first you create a bucket in AWS region of their choice, gives a globally unique name, globally bucket name, and it is known to the Amazon S3 bucket globally unique, which means that the bucket of any two AWS region in the two AWS account in the same region that can be the same. AWS recommends that user choose a region geographical close to them, latency and storage cost. Once your bucket is created, then users select to the tier for the data. Different S3 tiers have different levels of redundancy, pricing, and accessibility. Once your bucket can store objects from different S3 storage tiers, Then the user specify access privileges for the object stored in bucket using AWS identity and access management service bucket policy or access control list. Next is concept of Amazon S3. So these are the concept of Amazon S3. First is the bucket, second is object, third is keys, fourth is reasons, and last is data consistency model. So first we discuss about buckets. What is buckets? So bucket is a container used for storing the objects, and every object encrypted in a bucket. For example, if the object name photo slash jpg is stored in the tree image bucket, then it can be addressed by using the http dot slash tree image dot s3 dot amazon aws.com. Then bucket has no limit to store amount of objects that it, and no buckets can exit to the other sides. Next is object. So object are the entities which are stored in the S3 bucket, and object consists of object data and metadata, where metadata is a set of name value pair that describe the data. It is uniquely identified within a bucket by a key or a version ID. So next is key. Key is a unique identifier for an object. Every object in a bucket is associated with one key. An object can be uniquely identified by using a combination of bucket name, the key, and optional version ID. Next is reason. Reason, you can choose a geographical region in which you want to store the buckets that you have created, and a reason reason optimize the latency, minimize cost, address regulatory requirements, and objects will not leave the region unless you explicitly transfer the objects to the another region. Last is data consistency model. So Amazon S3 replicates data multiple servers to achieve high ability. There are two models. First is read after write consistency model, and second is eventually consistency for overwritten. So first is read after write consistency for puts of a new object. So first is for put a new request, S3 store the data across multiple servers to achieve high availability, and a process to store an object in S3, and it will immediately available to read the object, and a process to store a object in S3, it will immediately list the key within the bucket. Next is eventually consistent for overwrite puts and deletes. For puts and deletes data, puts and deletes object, and the changes are reflected eventually, and they are not available immediately. And if the process replace existing object where the new object you try to read immediately, and until its change it's fully propagated, the S3 might return prior data. Next is live demonstration. So this is the dashboard of Amazon AWS Management Console. Click on S3. So Amazon S3 is used to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. So first is create bucket. Give a bucket name. Bucket name must be unique within the global namespace. Then choose AWS region. Then create bucket. So bucket is successfully created. Then select the bucket. Then Then click on bucket. Then upload. Then add files. Then click on upload. So files is upload successfully. Then move on bucket. Then go to services and search AWS Glue. So this is the dashboard of AWS Glue. Then click on data catalog. Then crawlers. Create crawlers. So there are 5 steps to create a crawlers. So first give a name. Rakhi 1, 2. Description is optional. Then click on next. Second step is choose data sources and classifiers. So
Sorry for interruption, Rakhi. Please put your camera on. I guess it is switched on. Yeah.
So choose data sources and classifiers. So not yet and yes. So I will choose not yet. Then add a data source. Then give a bucket name. S3 slash rakhi 1, 2, 3. Then add an S3 data source. Then click on next. Third step is configure security setting. So first is IAM role. Create a new IAM role. Then click on next. Fourth step is set output and scheduling. Add database. Give a database name. Then create database. Location and description are optional. Then go to AWS. So our database is successfully created. Then click on next. Fifth step is review and create. So first step is set crawl property. So second is choose data sources and classifiers. Third is configure security settings. Fourth is setup output and scheduling. Then create crawlers. then run crawlers. Once our crawlers is running, that we have used to Amazon QuickSight to visualize the data in Amazon S3. Then back to our PPT. Sorry, ma'am.
No problem. See the issue. What is happening? Or you can reshare your screen. Okay, fine.
So next slide is AWS database data analysis tools. So there are four analysis tools: Amazon Athena, AWS Glue, Amazon Redshift, and Amazon QuickSight. So first we discuss about Amazon Athena. So Amazon Athena is a serverless interactive query service that allow you to analyze data in Amazon S3 using standard SQL queries, and it is particularly useful for exploration of large data sets without need of infrastructure and management. Next is AWS Glue. AWS Glue is a fully managed ETL, means extract, transform, load service that helps you to prepare and transform data from analysis. And it is automatically generate ETL code, handles schemas, evolutions, and it supports various data sources, making it easier to build and maintain data pipelines. Next is Amazon Redshift. Amazon Redshift is a fully managed data warehousing service that is used to design for high performance analytics. It allows you to analyze large data sets with complex query, and it is complex query quickly, and Redshift integrates seamlessly with popular business intelligence tools that supports data warehousing for best practices. And last is Amazon QuickSight. Amazon QuickSight is a cloud-based tool for creating interactive visualization and dashboards, and it connects to the data sources including AWS services, databases, third-party applications that enabling data exploration and sharing. Next is sources of stock market data. So first is stock exchanges, second is financial news websites, third is data providers, fourth is brokerage firms, and fifth is government agencies. Last is APIs, application programming interfaces. So first we discuss about stock exchanges. So what is stock exchanges? Stock exchanges are the sources of stock market data. It provides real-time and historical data on stock prices, trading volumes, and other market-related information. For example, include the New York Stock Exchange. And second is financial news websites. Financial news websites like Boomerang, Reuters, Yahoo Finance over a wealth of financial data, including stock quotes, news articles, reports, and financial statements. Third is data providers. Data providers, it is specialized data providers collect, process, and sell that stock market data, and it provides offer comprehensive data sets, various levels of granularity. For example, include Intrino and Alpha Vantage. Fourth is brokerage firms. Brokerage firms, many firms provides access to real-time and historical data market to their clients. Traders and investors can access data through trading platform offered by these firms. Next is government agencies. So government agencies like US Security and Exchange Commissions provide public access to regulatory films, corporate disclosures, financial reports, publicly traded companies. And last is APIs. APIs, application programming interface. Application programming interface offered by stock exchanges, financial data providers, brokerage firms allow developer to programmatically access stock market data. And APIs provide real-time and historical data, making them valuable and algorithm trading for analysis. Next is benefits. So first benefit is scalability, second is cost saving, third is accessibility, fourth is speed and performance, fifth is data storage, sixth is flexibility, and last is disaster recovery. So what scalability? Cloud platform allow you to easily scale your data analysis resources up or down based on your needs. And second is cost saving. So cost saving, you can avoid upfront cost for purchasing, maintaining on premises hardware, and only pay for the resources what you use. And third is accessibility. Accessibility, cloud data analysis access from anywhere with an internet connection. Fourth is speed and performance. Cloud providers other high performance computing resources that can quickly process large data sets and complex analysis. Fifth is data storage. Data storage, cloud platform provide reliable and scalable data storage solution for ensuring that your data is secure and accessible. Sixth is flexibility. Flexibility, it is a variety of data analysis tools and service available in the cloud environment to your specific needs. Last is disaster recovery. Disaster recovery, cloud platform offer built-in redundancy and backup options, making it easier to recover data in case of unexpected events. Next is challenges. Sorry, data compliance, data security and compliance. So implement robust security measure including encryptions at rest and in transit, access control, AWS identity and access management, auditing using AWS CloudRail, and to ensure compliance with relevant regulations such as data privacy and financial regulations. Next slide is challenges. So there are many challenges: data volume, latency, data quality, cost, data privacy and security, integration, technology, infrastructure, and data formats. So first is data volume. Data volume, stock market data generate many amounts of data daily, and it handling and processing this volume efficiently is a significant challenge. Latency, market data needs to collected in a real time. Reducing latency in data feeds, it is a critical for high frequency trading, other sensitive applications. Next is data quality. To ensuring data accuracy and integrity is essential. Error is the inconsistency in data. It can lead to incorrect investment decisions. For cost, market data comes at a cost. Fees can be sustainable, particularly for real-time feeds, and it managing data cost while obtaining the necessary information to constant concern. Data privacy and security. Security in financial data requires robust security measure to protect against data breaches and unauthorized access. Integration is the challenging for to storing stock market data. And next is technology infrastructure. Technology infrastructure is used for building, maintaining necessary data in infrastructure to collect, store, analyzed market data to be costly and complex. Next is data format. Data formats in different exchanges may use different data formats and protocols, making it challenging to standardize and integrate data. Next is conclusion. In conclusion, storing and analyzing stock market data on AWS S3 and using cloud data analysis tools offer a both robust and scalable solution for gaining insights, making informed investment decisions, optimized trading strategies, and it is leveraging AWS services like Amazon Athena, QuickSight, other empowers organization to efficiently collect, store, and analyze vast volumes of financial data. And this approach not only enhances data-driven decision making, but also provide the flexibility and security required to thrive the dynamic world of stock market analysis. So these are the reference links which I have used. So if you have any question, please ask me. And for any query, please contact me. Thank you.
Okay, Rakhi, your presentation was good. You maintained a flow while giving the presentation. So I have a question. If we want to log the object in Amazon S3, then how you will log it?
Login object.
Nee, log the object. Basically, are you getting my point?
No,
If you
ma'am.
want, means that if you want to log any object, you are creating objects now. So how
Yes,
you will
ma'am.
log? What is any term? There is a specific term or options available. So do you have any idea about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Select the crawlers, then click on then crawl properties then crawl properties name iron roles database. These are the these are the crawlers which I have logged.
So can you explain me that what you mean by locking an object? Purpose of it.
So, ma'am,
Okay, no problem. Okay, you have any idea about that? What are the different storage classes available in Amazon S3?
yes, ma'am. Amazon S3 Amazon intelligent storage class is Amazon S3. Ma'am, sorry.
Okay, no problem. You can read more about it so that you
Okay.
can get a deeper understanding of the concept or the task you are working with.
Okay, ma'am.
So do you have any question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Thank you, ma'am.
So next we have Ravina. You can start your presentation.
Ma'am, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible as well as visible.
Okay. Nice to see you again, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Is this visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ravina. I'm a BTech student pursuing my third year information technology and also working under Hack with Limited's internship program in the web development team. And this is my third presentation. The task assigned for me is to present a project timeline for the project real-time stock market data web application. We'll have a look into the agenda first. First is the introduction. Then we'll discuss about the key features of the project, and then how by following which model the project is developed. Then we'll dive into the technology stack. Then how the project is divided. We'll go through the roadmap, which gives us the clear view how the project is divided. Then comes the Gantt chart. After that, we'll have a look into the documentation. Then going to conclude by giving some references from which I learned to build a project timeline. First comes our introduction. So a real-time stock market data web application is useful, as we all are insisted to have at least one passive income to survive in this fast-paced financial world, right? So in which a stock market is one of the topmost passive income generator. Even it is the topmost income generator, it has its own difficulties and risk. To overcome that, we ensure security and risk management through our application by using some APIs. So that's what a project is. So for this, I'm going to develop a timeline to develop this project. To give the importance of timeline, I would like to share a story. It's kind of experience. Before joining this internship, when I'm trying to learn something or start a project, about to start a project, I just used to go through my schedule and okay, we have exam next week, then I have placement trainings, so we'll do this after 2 weeks. It's kind of procrastinating. But once I joined, and each time when I was assigned with a task, I'm searching for free times in between my schedules. So this gives gives me a lesson how to schedule a task and get the time for self-learning. Obviously, what I'm learning here is my self-learning. It doesn't include in my curriculum. So that's how it teach me the importance of timeline. So hope this stands a good example for the importance of timeline. So here's the key features of our website. It should have real-time stock data. Obviously, we are gonna handle the real market data, which helps our users, that is the investors, to invest and trade. User authentication and security. Obviously, we are handling users' money, so we have to be responsible for their data security. So that must be done using user authentication. Easy to understand format. A website for which we are expecting more end users must be in an easy to understand format. So in our case, it is more important because we can't give the raw data to the users blindly, because it will be frustrating for them. It will be better if we display it in like a graph or chart. Responsive design is to display it can use the app in all the devices like tablets and mobile phones. Development model. A project follows waterfall and agile development model. It's kind of hybrid model, as waterfall is a linear model where we first the picture shows how the flow is. First, we gather the requirements from the customer, then we'll design an outline, then we'll develop a project. Once we have done with the development part, it goes to the testing. Then once we are ready with the project, that after debugging, we can deploy it and deploy the website. And as usual, maintenance is done in all the project. So this is about the waterfall model. In agile model includes all the models like incremental, iterative, scrum. Obviously, where we are now is a scrum meeting, right? So all it include all the model or included in the agile model. But here we are using the incremental model, where the large project is divided into subtasks. And each task is dependent on the previous task. That's about the incremental model. So overall approach, what we are following is, by waterfall model, we get a structured phase, and by agile model, we'll developing an incremental phase. So diving into the technologies used, for front-end development, we are using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js to structure the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is to structure, and React.js is for the data visualization. For database, you are using MongoDB, that is MongoDB Atlas, that uses cloud. And backend uses Node.js and Express.js. Node.js is a it is a server-side scripting, which gives the runtime environment for JavaScript. And Express.js is a additional framework for Node.js web application. Deployment is done in AWS, that is Amazon Web Service, where we can create instance, easy to instance, that is used to create a virtual server with a resizable compute power and memory as well. So other than this, the real-time communication, we are using WebSocket and Socket.oi. So where WebSocket used for bidirectional communication. So where a client sends a request to the server, and once the server responded, they're happening a handshake, and the handshake is replaced by the WebSocket connection through the TCP protocol. Then the bidirectional communication is happening without requirement of any HTTP protocol in each the request. So Socket.io is used to frame the WebSocket by adding two libraries, for one is for client side and the server side at the top of the WebSocket. API, Alpha Vantage API and News API. In Alpha Vantage API is used to collect the details from the stocks, and the News API is to give the trend and updates in the stock market. Data visualization, we are using chart.js and d3.js. Both are the libraries of JavaScript, especially meant for the data visualization. It is to represent the raw data in a picturized form, like a pie chart maybe, or a bar chart, or a graph. User authentication, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it is most important to have an security for the user's data. We are using JWT, that is JSON Web Token, and the passport.js to have an user authentication. Here comes a Gantt chart. A best definition for Gantt chart is it is a bar chart used to schedule, manage, and monitor specific tasks and resources in a project. So the key informations we are extracting from the Gantt chart are the timeline, which is represented in the x-axis, and the task, which is represented in the y-axis, and the dependencies are mentioned as lines and arrows. We're gonna see what is dependencies and how it is mentioned in the upcoming slides. And the milestones, it is represented as diamonds and stars. So while talking about the milestones, I have a story to share that we have a course in our college called software engineering, where we asked to build a project as if in a company. Like we have to first complete the documentation part, then go to the project development. So in first lab, we are asked to complete SRS, that is after completing the SRS, we asked to give the diagrams like class diagram, state diagram, sequence diagram, and so on. So before that, we just developed a project without any documentation. So at that time, you can improvise the project on the time we are working. But in this case, before working on the real time, you have to document it. So it is little difficult, as you have to be clear with your project and its outline. So we all had some hesitation to start with the diagrams, and no one is completed with the diagram, and a ma'am asked us to submit in that, and she didn't have any idea to check, as she know any one of us is didn't done that. Just she kept on making us tense, like I'm gonna check everyone's diagram, and after 1 hour I'm gonna check. So but she didn't do that. After 2 days, she get tensed and just said that I marked absent for all the students for the previous lab. Those students who are submitting their project in the next diagrams that she mentioned, going to get their attendance for both the lab, the previous lab and the future lab. So that's the milestone, I think. So it can be extended, but it should be in an extent. That's it. So that's the milestone. Uses of the timeline chart is, as I mentioned earlier, managing milestones and deadlines. Next is breaking projects into smaller tasks. So this is to identify steps to milestones, like which task can take more time and setting milestones for them. Break steps into tasks. So as we are breaking the project into task, right? So that's the breaking steps into task. Analyze the task, further break down big task. So once we are plotted the task, if we feel that the tasks are big, we can further classify it into the subtask. Next, the visualizing task dependencies. So there are 4 kinds of dependencies: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. So the prefix of to is mentioning the task A, and the suffix of to is mentioning the task B. Let me go in the order. Like, if A is finished, then B can start. If A is started, then B can start. If A is finished, then B can finish. If A is start, then B can finish. So this is how the dependencies can be. So this is represented in the diagram as finish to start. So the task A is marked, the arrow comes from the end of task A and merge to the task B starts. And start to start, the line is connected in task A is start and task B start. Finish to finish, it merges the end of both the task, and start to finish is once the task A starts, the B can start finish. So that's how the 4 dependencies. Hopefully, our project is in a linear form. So this is a finish to start approach. Like no other non-linear dependencies can be existing. Monitoring project progress. Obviously, within visualization, we can monitor the progress of the project, and we can also make changes like these tasks are done and these tasks are going to complete soon. So like that. So roadmap gives us a clear view how we are dividing the project. For first week, we are having an introduction to React.js and setting up the environment, development environment. For week 2, styling the application and implementing user authentication. And it's just building the website and making user authentication by JWT. And for week 3, pulling data from APIs, that is from Alphavantage API, and displaying data on the front end. So as of week 3, we are just printing the data, raw data. That's the task of week 3. In week 4, adding search functionality and testing and debugging. Once we are confident that pull data from the API and display it in the front end, we can give the customers that the search functionality. As per their wish, they can select this task. And once we are done with these tasks, the testing and debugging can be done. Then in the 5th week, implementing data visualization, handling errors and edge cases. As I mentioned earlier, in week 3, we are just displaying the raw data in the front end. So that should be visualized in the week 5, and the errors can be handled in the week itself. And the 6th week, building the backend, that is connecting the database and creating API for user authentication as well. For week 7, integrating news API, implementing real-time updates. Obviously, once we are created with an API, we can integrate news API, which gives the updates of the stock market, real-time updates of the stock market. For week 8, so in the week 7, up to week 7, we have to complete our work, and the last week is only for the optimizing performance and the deploying the application. As we are not doing any deployment in the previous stage, we are gonna deploy all the tasks together in the last week. So it may be a tedious work and can expect more risk and errors to be found in the deploying part. So we have to save time for that. So this is a simple Gantt chart I prepared through the PowerPoint table to give a picturized view, simplistic view. So Starting from the week 1, introduction to, as I mentioned earlier, all the tasks are in y-axis and the timeline is in x-axis. And introduction to React.js and setting up the development environment is done in the week 1. And styling the web application and implementing user authentication. Implementing the user authentication needs some more time as it is a risky job, and it can be extended to the next week, but the milestone is the week 3. So we have to complete the work in the week 3 itself. Pulling data from API and displaying data on the front end can be done in week 3 itself, because we are just displaying the raw data. In week 4, adding search functionality and debugging. Adding search functionality is an easier task, but testing and debugging can have 3 to 4 iterations maybe, as we have to test and rectify it. Then it goes for again a test process. So it can be extended for the next week, and the milestone is the week 5. And implementing data visualization, handling error and edge cases. So it is the same process where we can handle the errors of data visualization and the task itself. So it comes under week 5. Building the backend and creating API. Building backend is something that takes time, like connecting the database and the search, add the search functionalities there. So it took time, so can extend up to the week 7. And creating API, creating an API is for user authentication. It can take 2 to 3 days about. Sorry. Integrating news API. To save time for the last week, we are just rushing up in the before 2 weeks. So creating news API and implementing real-time updates. So to make sure that we are up to date in our website, it took long time to implement news API. So for that, it can be extended till the 8th week, half of the 8th week. And optimizing performance and deploying the application is done in up to the week 8. As I mentioned, deployment can have some errors. So for that, I mentioned the process for a whole week. So that's how I built the timeline for this project. And let's have a look of a real-time project timeline made with an Instagram application. So here we, in the section, I've mentioned all the tasks in the y-axis. And here, for example, I started it from October 1. And I also mentioned the dependencies here. Like I mentioned the arrows from the finish to start. And we can also have the description for this task here, like understanding components, JSX syntax, and state management in React.js. So for all of the tasks, we can have the descriptions, its own descriptions. We also invite our team members by their email as well, and can export our work through in the form of image or in PDF. So I exported as image and pasted in the Word of document part. We'll see it later. So that's all about the timeline and the Instagram web application. Back to the presentation. So what are the benefits of Gantt chart? Is it maintains the streamlined time management, and it gives the dependency management, and also it gives the simplified project planning and enhanced transparency, that all the team members can view the progress, and great accountability, efficient resource allocation. Obviously, when we are assigned with a task per week, so we can know the resources needed in prior. So if I'm going to work with the, I'm going to start in the October 1st, so I can know that first process is React.js, so I have to install it. So these are the Node.js and the React.js are the resources I need. So these are the resources allocation and flexibility in remote team productivity. As if it enhances transparency between the team members, it increased the productivity of team. So documentation, I have created a documentation to deliver a project timeline of real-time stock market data web application. Project timeline. The table of contents include introduction, objective, key features, technologies used, project timeline, working of application, challenges, and conclusion. So in introduction, what is a real-time stock market and what are the difficulties we are facing is included, and in the objective, how our application is useful for that to overcome the difficulties. And our basic key features are real-time stock market data. As I mentioned, all the points in my presentation, I'm just pinpointing the main points. Real-time stock market data and have user authentication and security. It should be in easy to understand format, and the website should be responsive in design. So the technologies used is for front-end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js. For backend, Node.js and Express.js. For database, MongoDB. User authentication is done by JSON Web Tokens and Passport.js. For testing is Jest and Enzyme, where Jest is to test is for unit testing, and Enzyme is specially made for React that complements the Jest behavior to write test for especially React UI elements. So data visualization is done by chart3.js or d3.js. API is Alpha Vantage API and News API are used. For real-time communication, WebSockets and Socket.oi. In the deployment, we are doing it in the Amazon Web Service, as I mentioned earlier. So I included the image of the real-time timeline chart and also the PowerPoint slide, and have a detailed explanation of how the task is splitted and the description of each task. So for month 1, and we have 4 weeks, and each have splitted into 2 tasks, assigned with 2 tasks. As same as month 1, month 2 have divided into 4 weeks, and each includes 2 tasks, which we seen in detail in the presentation itself. Working of the application goes in the order of login. Once the user is logged in, after logging in, the account should be verified. So once the account is verified, the user can log in. Then they can select the stocks as per the wish. Once they select the stock, for which they have to know the market data, then the data should be processed. It should be visualized in a graph or a chart manner. The challenges faced in this application is to pull the real-time data and displaying it in an easy to understand format, and to implement user authentication and security features to protect user data. And the conclusion includes the summary of how the project is developed, like using React.js, Node.js, and MongoDB, and the key features like easy to understand format. It should includes it may be in the responsive way. So that's all about the documentation. Bringing back to the presentation. So to sum up, we are building a project that is in a structured progression and in iterative development, like splitting the big task into subtasks, in balancing flexibility and structure, as we can create the timeline and make the team flexible to work in subtasks. Emphasis on quality, as we are not dumping all the work together. We are working in each module, which gives which improves the quality of work. Holistic deployment, so the deployment takes all the features included. So the references I have used are Business Adobe to know about the Gantt chart, and also Investopedia is also used for knowing the Gantt chart concepts. Instagan is where I developed the real-time timeline chart, and also referred how to to get an hands-on experience in the Instagram. I referred the YouTube channel. Open to question and answer session. For further queries, you can contact me through my mail. Thank you.
Yes, Ravina, your presentation was quite good. According to me, you covered all the aspects as it is required. So this is all. Do you have any question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. The next we have Kanchana. You can start your presentation. Kanchana, are you there? Kanchana? Kanchana, do you want to give your presentation? Yeah, sure. You can resolve the issue if it is possible to resolve now. I am here waiting for you.
Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, good evening. You are audible as well as visible.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Kanchana, can you hear me? Kanchana, are you able to hear me?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Kanchana, you are audible to me, but am I audible to you? Kanchana. Kanchana, please tell me.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Kanchana, are you able to hear me?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Okay, now I am audible. Perfect. You are
Yeah,
also
ma'am.
audible to me. You can start.
So sorry, ma'am. It was actually working till now. I don't know what happened suddenly to my Bluetooth. It was disconnected.
No problem. I can understand.
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
start.
ma'am. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. So firstly, a very good evening to you, ma'am. I'm Kanchana Ganga Daita. I have completed my graduation from University of Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Nasirapet, which is located in Andhra Pradesh. So my domain is embedded systems and IoT, and the topic today that I have given was identifying the key components of an air quality monitoring system. So firstly, the contents of my presentation were introduction, significance, circuit and block diagrams, along with the explanation of key components and the working principle, what are all the different types of air quality monitoring and advantages, disadvantages, along with real-time applications. And finally, we'll close with conclusion and future steps. So coming to the introduction. So firstly, what is an air quality monitoring system? It is a network. It will allow us to measure or predict the data of the air pollutions which are present in the air. So there are many pollutants in the air. We can consider some gases or some air pollutants which are hidden in the scattered beam light in the air. So it may cause because of sunlight or it may cause because of using chemicals in any factories, even at domestic areas also. So there are different areas in which air quality has to be measured constantly in order to get an idea of what are the predictive analysis have to be done and what are all the required measures to make it in the required way. Like some molecules are have to be in their particular value only. So let's consider oxygen or any carbon dioxide like that. So that has to be present only up to its mark only. So if it crosses the threshold value or the required value, it definitely causes harm to the people around them, also to the machines and the people living nearby. So in this air quality monitoring system, we have two types of monitoring. One is point source contamination, which is also called as we are measuring at only one part in an area, or else we can use the whole area as a consideration and we can measure. So how we can measure is the question here. So there are so many kind of instruments which we can make use of to measure this air quality data. So some are direct reading meters in which we can have the digital output like LCDs. On that, the exact data of particular air pollutants will be displayed, or else there are some output devices which we connect to the air quality monitoring system. So that monitoring system will send the data to those output devices, and we can get the data from those output devices. So also to make user friendly, these air quality monitoring systems will be provided with the user information systems. For example, we can take any sensor. It is an input device, and we can have an LCD display. It's an output device. So for the user friendly purpose, we can have the input which is given to the sensor, from sensor to the air quality monitoring system, and from the system the output will be given to the LCD display, which is user friendly. We can easily read by looking at into the LCD display board. So coming to the significance, actually what is the story behind this project, why we have to do this project, and why the air quality monitoring system is required. So firstly, we all have to keep in mind that the health conditions of people are utmost important, especially for those people who live in nearby the factories or any industrial areas, or else the people who work in industry. Also, there are so many kinds of air pollutants such as oxygen deficiency or oxygen enrichments, etc. So for those, we all have to be careful and we all have to be particular about the air pollutants which are present around us. So also, these are applicable at domestic areas also. Let's take an example of gas leakage. So if there is a gas leakage at a home, so it is not an industrial area, nor an area which is related to factories or which is nearer to the factories also. But it is an utmost important thing to have air purifications or air quality monitoring systems in domestic areas also. Because see, if we have a gas leakage, so how we can detect that? If there is no one at home and there are so many houses uh, nearby to that one home which is having gas leakage, it can create harm to the entire area, or else it can continue harming the whole city also if no one is caring about that. So at that conditions also, it is not only for industrial areas but also used for the domestic purposes also. So for all those contaminants, what we have to do, we have to measure what are all the pollutants present in the air, and we have to be secure by taking sufficient diagnosis. So also we have some equipments which measures particular gases. For example, for gases we have one kind of sensor. For temperature measurement we have one kind of sensor, and the measurement of scattered beam light. Some gases are even hidden in the scattered beam lights coming from UV rays or in the normal air also. So for that kind of measurements, we have particular different sensors. So all those working together helps help this monitor to work and gives us the output. Also, we all know, basically we all are learning from childhood that air pollution is the excess unwanted thing. So we want only purified air to be inhaled. So there are so many molecular particulates or other harmful things in the earth atmosphere. So actually these air quality monitoring systems can be employed in both indoor and outdoor areas also. So how? It is actually in the past, it is used to be so bigger in size, or it is it will be, it is used to be in a condition where it is non-portable. So what if it is non-portable? It is only useful for some areas only, or else if once it is fixed means it has to be in that area only, or else it should not be moved. It has to measure the area in that particular area only. So what's the use in that case? We can only be able to measure the air in that area only. But now, as the technologies are changing, as the benefits are even more increasing, we have the portable air quality monitors also. And mainly we have five most common air pollutants, which are all nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, sulfur, and particulate matter. So all these are the five important particulates in the air which are present. So we have to measure them from time to time. Also, there are so many real-time applications for this project. That's why only we are learning about it and we are discussing this today. So one of the main important thing is smoke detection. We have see in the air, we don't know from where um, smoke is getting into air, because if there are factories even at a distance so many kilometers from the people living areas, even then also it is invisible, right? So we can't say this area can be smoky, this area can be non-smoky, like that. We can't say. So people living in those areas are innocently living there and inhaling all those air contaminants along with their normal air breathing process. So that may not affect immediately to them, but in the time being, if they inhale the same air which is having smoke, it definitely causes harm to their health. So that is one of the most important detection application. And particulate matter monitoring is also important. As we have said previously, gas leak identification is also one of the important things. And coming to the AQI determination, indoor and outdoor air quality monitoring, air velocity and humidity are also to be measured. Why air velocity and humidity are to be measured? Because with that only we can get the temperature and air pressure also, so that we can estimate the future occurring circumstances. Coming to the circuit diagram of this project. So actually this is an Arduino. It is Arduino Uno R3 and it has a lot of pins. In the next slide, we're gonna observe this even more precisely. So firstly, let me explain the circuit. So firstly, we use MQ134 gas sensor. This is used for measuring gases such as nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, like that. And this is PM2.5 sensor. It measures the dust and particulate matter sensor. And this is BME or BMP 280 sensor. So all these sensors will work with three individual operations which make this circuit work. So next slide is block diagram. What is about this? So we all know that whatever the main operation thing be, let it be an Arduino, let it be a microcontroller or a microprocessor, whatever it may be, the input and output devices stays the same, because sensors are always important, because with that only we can measure what are all the contaminants that are present in the air. It receives the different kind of it receives the different kind of things. Let me change it like this. So it receives a different kind of air pollutants and it sends the information to the microcontroller or an Arduino board. And after the computation of all these of these observed values from the sensor, the output devices can give us LCD display, data logger, or GPS modem. Any of the output devices can give us the exact output. And coming to key components. So I have said there are a lot of pins in the Arduino board. We have A0 to A7 board. These are all the input pins. And D0 to D3 board, and we have ground reset, also V input pin for connection of the input voltage. So firstly, we all know for any Arduino board or for any operational device, we need to connect input and output. Input are the sensor boards, and we have to connect the VCC and the ground pin to the all the three sensors which we have, so that all the connections will be proper and secure. And coming to the output pin, we have the pin number 8, which is A8, in which we have to connect the pin to the output network, whether it be an LCD or modem, etc. So that output will sound like a buzzer whenever the gases are more than the required threshold value. So actually, we'll program this Arduino. So whenever we have given, for example, let's say we have given 5 volts. So if the Arduino computed the value more than 5 volts after receiving the input from the sensor, so if the value is more than 5 volts, it obviously sends the signal to the buzzer, so it starts sounding, so that people nearby can know what's happening there. It is one of the, it's like a beep sound, so that people can be alert. And second thing is Raspberry Pi. Like a computer, we have so many operations to perform. So any keyboard operation, mouse operation, or else in the storage purpose also, it is the most powerful processor. We can use it for storage, and we can also use it like a keyboard or a mouse to control the Arduino board. Also, it is defined as mini computer, but we have to actually appreciate the designers, as it has only size of a small debit or credit cards. Its size is in that small size, but its operation is so nice. Also, it has a USB-C C-type power supply, so that we can sectionalize it and we can use the power. Next, coming to PM2.5 air quality sensor. So this air quality sensor works mainly on the dust and particulate matter. It has a dust and particulate chamber in it. So in this detection chamber, whenever air flows through this chamber, it senses what are all the different kinds of particulate matter is present in the air and sends the required data to the Arduino board directly via the connected pins. So it has a lot of pins as we can observe in the circuit diagram. Yeah, it has a lot of pins: 5 volts pin, ground pin, set, reset pin, etc. So what it does means after receiving the input from 5 volts and the ground pin, it detects the air flowing through this scattered chamber, the detection chamber. So whenever the suspended particles into air are captured by using this detection chamber, it accurately estimates the amount of suspended particles in the air and gives the data in per unit volume of the air to the Arduino board. It computes required data that Arduino board will be. And next, MQ135. This MQ135 gas sensor is responsible, like it name says, it is a gas sensor. It is responsible for detecting gases. We have already discussed what are all the important gases that needs to be detected. For example, carbon monoxide or nitrous oxide, ammonia, etc. So yeah, here it is mentioned: ammonia, alcohol, benzene, smoke, etc. So these are all the important gases that needs to be measured, like their quantities, how much are they present in the air. So it contains the basic electronics. Also, it has two different kinds of output. So we already set a threshold value into it. Like for each gas, this gas has to be in this gas has to be in this volume we have set. So whenever the gases present in the air are below the limit of the set values, it will give the output in analog form. Similarly, whenever the measured values are greater than the set values, it will give digital output. So it has two output interfaces. One is analog and another one is digital. And coming to the last sensor, that is BME280. It measures temperature, humidity, and pressure of the air. So it actually it is made up of so many on chips, like system on chips, by using some embedded software. Also, it is manufactured by the Bosch company. The name of it is called BME280. Also, it has a technology inbuilt into it. As I have said, by using embedded software, it has an inbuilt technology in which it can measure the pressure, temperature, and humidity. A lot of advantages are there with this temperature sensor. One of them are it measures so linearly. That means whatever the output is there, it gives same linear output as according to the input. So whatever input is there, it gives same accordingly the output. So there are no errors, or it is so accurate, we can say. It is also having a ground pin. As I have previously said, we have to connect the ground pin for this sensor also. Next, coming to working principle. So we have Arduino board, we have all these sensors. How the system works is the question. The quality air monitoring system, which is also called as Arduino board, is the main operating system in our case. So this collects the samples from all the sensors like PM2.4 sensor, DME sensor, also the particulate matter collection sensor. So all three sensors will give the inputs to this computational feature, which is Arduino system. It has many different kinds of principles in which one of them it can operate. For example, let's take stationary measurement system. Stationary measurement system means it depends on area. For example, let's take if it is measuring only up to one area. Let's take an example as a factory. So if it is measuring, the air quality monitoring system is placed in a factory. So if it is placed in a factory, it will work upon that kind of principles. It is a stationary measurement system. Another one is mobile measuring system. It will operate remotely, like it can operate from anywhere, or else it can be portable, like it can be transferable to anywhere. The system can be transferable. So the data will be worked accordingly, the data will be computed accordingly. Actually, the PM sensor works as a laser scattering method. We already discussed. Gas sensor work on NDIR, which is also called as, it is an important detection for which are the gases required, like ammonia, benzene, carbon dioxide, etc. And there is also important sensor, which is temperature, humidity, and pressure sensor. Also, by combining all these techniques, air quality monitoring system will be worked. And what are all the different types? So there are so many different types of air quality monitoring systems are there. So there is a classification of the systems. One is lab grade monitors, second one is commercial grade monitors, and third one is consumer monitors. Firstly, what is lab grade monitors? Lab grade monitors are the air quality monitors which are only used by officials, or else it costs in some lakhs or some crores also. So it should be only used by officials. And also we have to we need to have a license also to access these lab grade monitors or to use them. So it is for basically it is used by scientists or any official workers, so that only they can use these monitors. This can be used in some of the higher applications like any space organizations like that. And coming to commercial grade monitors, this can be used anywhere. For example, a normal person who needs to measure the air in his or her domestic area also can use the commercial grade monitor, because commercial grade monitors are such kind of monitors which can be lower cost, very low cost. Also, the size is also compact so that any person can use it. Also, these are portable. It also classified into three types again. One is outdoor air quality monitor, another one is indoor, and the third one is interior air quality monitor. So these are also three types which are categorized in the commercial grade monitors. Coming to consumer monitors. So what is consumer monitors? Consumer monitors case falls between lab grade and commercial grade. So it sits between the lab and commercial grade. That means the cost is in between high grade and low grade, and the operation type is also based on that. And coming to pros and cons of this project, everything has an advantage. Similarly, it has a disadvantage. Similar to that, air quality monitoring system is also falls under that category. It's an important tool which is we need to detect what are all the contaminants present in the air, uh, what is the percentage of some gases we are inhaling, or what is the percentage of air pollutants we are having around us. Those are all need to be measured and calculated, so that only particular measures have to be taken. So in that purpose, this is really advantageous, and it can also be used to identify pollution sources and monitor climate changes, etc. This can be also helpful to the determination of weather reports also. And it also suffers from some cross sensitivities, because some air quality monitoring systems will be so high of cost, they used to be so expensive, so that it could be a small disadvantage. Or else also some of the air quality monitoring systems are so heavy in size and they are non-portable too. And some pollutants can be affected, like some missions can be affected due to their low maintenance, or their uh, some applications will not suit this because of their higher cost, etc. So these are all the kind of disadvantages. Also, one more important disadvantage is it has so much of sensitivity. Like even if a small kind of measurement is greater or lesser the threshold value, it has to be sensitive. The sensitivity is utmost important for this. So if it doesn't hold that sensitivity, the machine working may fail. So that is one of the most disadvantage we can have. Also, it is affected by external factors. So what if the monitoring system has to be placed under air, like under atmosphere in the open air? So it may affect the system's outlook also in that cases. So examples is, so we have a lot of examples like continuous emission monitoring systems and manual inspections, remote inspections, and also automatic inspections also. See, in the working principles, we have said that there are a lot of principles to work. In that case, remote and manual is also one of the case, because we need to enter the values in the manual case, and we can we can have automatic value of the data, automatic generation, automatic sensor inputs and output generation will be there in the automatic case. So what's the conclusion of this project? So actually what we have seen is, we have seen what are the components included in this, what is the measurements, like how the measurements have been done, what is the working principle of the system, and what are the different types of air quality monitoring systems are there. So there are a lot of systems and there are a lot of designs included in this. This involves both hardware and software. So the collection of data from sensors, and it is given to the operating system. It gives the output as per the computation. This is the conclusion. And what's the future scope? See, the air pollution or these contaminants or the factories in future will definitely boom, will definitely increase. So actually, the air pollution is a thing which has to be decreased, but due to the current situations, it is kept on increasing since many years. So we have to use even more high grade technologies in order to meet the requirements of future air quality monitoring systems. So not only Arduino, but also any microcontrollers or any DSPs can also be used to process this air quality data and to give the output. So for any future requirements, this could be a very good application. In order to detect the environmental pollutions or to use any kind of sensors also, these sensors are also in a very good, uh, have very good applications in future. Yeah, these are all the references that I have used. From these websites, I have gathered some of the images and some important definitions. Yeah. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can please give me. And thank you. You can contact via my email ID if you have any queries.
Yes, Kanchana, your presentation was quite impressive. You gave a detailed approach and explanation to each and everything and gave examples. That is really a good approach. So, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I will provide your scores and feedback on your email.
Okay, ma'am.
So, you can leave.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome. Arbab, do you have any more queries? Please let me know if you have any more queries. Okay, so you can also leave. So we don't have any more interns, so we wrap up our session here. Thank you, everyone.